Okay, so this is just a quick review because you did learn how to graph lines last year in Algebra 1 and you spent a lot of time on it. But we are going to review it a little bit. So we're going to look at the equation of the line. Always looks like this, y equals mx plus b. And we know that m, the number in front of x or with your x, is always your slope. So I'm going to circle slope, which tells me how steep a line is. And then your b, or your naked number, the number that does not have an x with it, is always going to be your y-intercept, which is where it crosses the y-axis. So that is a point on the graph, and the slope is how you get from one point to the other point. So the first thing you would do is you plot the y-intercept first, so you put a dot on the y-intercept at that number, and then you're using the slope to get to the next point. So let's do an example. So given this equation, I'm doing my y-intercept first. If I look at my equation, up here my y-intercept is the number that is not with x, so that's going to be my -2. The sign in the middle goes with the naked number, so I'm going to put it as -2. And I put a dot on the graph on the y-axis. The y-axis is this up and down line, so my first dot should always be on that line. And this one's at -2, which is going to be down here, so I'm going to put a dot. And then my slope is the second thing we're doing, and we know m equals slope. And my slope is always the number in front of x, so in this equation it's going to be 4. Maybe from last year you know that your slope has to be a fraction. If this is a whole number, how do I make it a fraction? You just put it over 1. Anytime it's a whole number, you just put it over 1. Okay, so this is going to tell me how I'm moving. So the top of your slope is telling you, are you supposed to move up or down? And on the bottom, that's telling me, am I supposed to move to the right or the left? So it depends if your number is positive or negative. If your top number is positive, that means you're moving up. Down is negative. On the bottom, if your number is positive, that means to the right, and negative would be to the left. So in mine, my top number is +4, so that means I should be moving up 4. My number on the bottom is positive, so then I'm going to move to the right 1. So where do I start counting from? I start counting from the y-intercept. So from down here, I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the right 1, and that is the next point on the graph. And you would continue doing this, going up, same slope, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the right 1, and I put another dot. I can't go again because I'm out of graph. So if I have to go the other way, because sometimes you can't go the way that the slope is telling you to go, so to go backwards, that is not the word to go backwards. You have to do the opposite of what your slope just told me. So my slope said 4 up, so to do the opposite, I guess I'll spell the whole word. You're going to go 4 down, and instead of 1 to the right, you would go 1 to the left. So I would go the opposite way starting here. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the left 1, and you would put another dot. And then since you guys are going to be doing it on GoFormative, you can use your nice little straight line connector. Let's see if mine's working. And then you just connect and line up your dots just like that, nice and straight. One more. Let's look at one where the slope's already a fraction. So the first thing we're still doing is the y-intercept. What's my y-intercept of this line? Is +3, my naked number over there. So then I'm going to put my dot on the y on +3, which should be right there. And then my slope this time is the number with x, which I see is -3/2. So since my slope is a fraction this time, I don't need to make it a fraction, but that negative number is kind of just hanging out in the front. I don't know, is it supposed to go with the top or the bottom or both? If it's just hanging out in front, I always just make it go with the number on top. It only goes with one of the numbers. It does not go with the 3 and the 2. I always just put it with the top. So again, my slope is telling me how do I get to the next point. So am I supposed to go up or down? Well, my number on top this time is negative, which means I'm supposed to be going down 3 this time. And my number on the bottom, my 2, is it positive or negative? Well, mine is positive, so that means I should be going to the right 2. That is not Q. I guess that looks like an R. Okay, so from here I'm going down 1, 2, 3, and right 1, 2. I put another dot. And I would continue doing that, so I would go down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, dot, and I would do it again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, dot. If I wanted to go the opposite way, backwards, I would do the opposite of both of these directions, so 3 up and 2 left. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, dot. And then I'm using the straight line tool on Go Formative in the Show Your Work section to line them up and connect all my dots. And that's pretty much it on graphing. That should have been a review. If you need to, watch it again. Otherwise, watch the next video.